Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Melissa and I'm a nursing student. So if you have not seen my previous videos, then you may not know that I attend Chamberlain University. I attend their evening and weekend BSN program. So it's not a bridge program, it is an accelerated BSN program. So I am currently unlicensed and I do not have any degrees in nursing. By the time that I'm done with the program at Chamberlain, I will have received my BSN, my bachelor's in nursing, and I will be eligible to sit for the NCLEX, which is the nursing licensing exam, and I will be able to become a registered nurse. So I am not currently a registered nurse. I am in school and on a path to become one. So with all that being said, today I'm going to be talking about the next generation NCLEX, or the Next Gen NCLEX, or the NGN, which stands for Next Gen NCLEX. So I'm going to be using those terms interchangeably in this video. I'm referring to the same exam. And if you see me looking like down or up and around and just away from the camera, that's because I have my laptop with me. I put down a bunch of bullet points and a bunch of notes just to make sure that I cover everything. I will put down in the description where I received all of my information from, just so that if you want to research more yourself, you can do that, or if you want to verify my sources as well, you can do that. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So first I'm going to go into what the NCLEX is, then I'm going to go into what the Next Gen NCLEX is, and then lastly, the third thing that I'm going to talk about in today's video is how the Next Gen NCLEX will be different than the current NCLEX, because they're still giving the current NCLEX. The Next Gen NCLEX won't be taken until 2023. So if I figure out how to do timestamps, I will put them in the description box below, just so that if you already know what the NCLEX is, you already know all of that, you don't need the background information, you can skip over that just to see what is going to be on the Next Gen NCLEX. And if I don't figure out how to time skip, I apologize in advance. As you can see by like my background and my lighting and everything, I'm really not a YouTuber. I'm just a nursing student who happens to do YouTube. So I'm still learning how to do like all the technical stuff. But if I figure out how to do time jumps, I will, just so you guys don't have to get this whole long video. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is what is the NCLEX. So for those of you all that are not familiar with what the NCLEX is, NCLEX actually is an acronym, and it stands for the National Council Licensing Examination. And so the NCLEX is actually a nationwide exam that is administered to nursing school graduates before they can receive their license to practice nursing. And the purpose of this exam is to test the competency to make sure that nursing school graduates are ready to enter the field and actually start practicing nursing on patients. So the NCLEX is administered by a council called the National Council of State Boards of Nursing, or NCBSN for short. And I will be using, again, the council term interchangeably in this video. So there are actually two NCLEX exams that are administered. One is the NCLEX PN, and this is for individuals who are trying to become licensed practical nurses or vocational nurses. And then there is the NCLEX RN, and that's the one that I'm going to be taking, and that is for aspiring nurses who are trying to obtain their registered nursing license, or trying to become registered nurses. So the minimum requirement to be eligible to sit for the NCLEX RN is an associate's degree from an accredited school. Preferably it's a bachelor's degree, but you can sit for it with an associate's degree as well. So now that I've just given a background on what the NCLEX is as an exam, now I'm going to be talking about the NGN, or the Next Gen NCLEX. So this is an updated version of the NCLEX that is going to be presented to us, or it's going to launch on April 1st of 2023. So if you're taking the NCLEX exam before April 1st of 2023, you're going to be taking the currently administered NCLEX. If you take the exam on April 1st or beyond, you're going to be receiving the new NCLEX, or the Next Gen NCLEX. So every 3 years, the NCBSN, which is the council that I mentioned before, who administers the exam, every 3 years they get together and they reassess the NCLEX to see what needs to be adjusted in order to make sure that the NCLEX remains relevant and up to date and is testing recent graduates, I keep wanting to say nursing students, It's testing recent nursing school graduates on what they need to know in order to receive their license and start practicing nursing. And so in 2019, the NCBSN announced that they are going to be making major changes to the NCLEX exam and that those changes would start happening in 2023. So I found a number of different reasons for why the NCBSN is changing the NCLEX so drastically. And some things I saw in my research, other things are just rumors. Traditionally, new graduate nurses or new nurses would, for the most part, enter the field in a more generalized area of patient care, like med-surg, for example. But data is showing that in recent years, more and more new grad nurses are starting their careers in more critical areas. So new nurses are skipping med-surg in bulk and they're going to ICU, emergency department, NICU, areas where they're having to make critical decisions and having to use complex thinking earlier in their careers than nurses of the past. So in addition to a lot of new nurses in recent years starting off their careers working with critically ill patients and with patients with just higher acuity, data has also been collected over the last few years by students or former students taking the NCLEX exam. So when new graduates are taking the NCLEX, there will be questions on there at random that do not go toward their final score, but that the NCBSN are using to collect data to see what areas are kind of like the weak spots for new graduate nurses. So that data led them to want to alter the exam to have a heavy focus on critical thinking skills, nursing judgment, and complex decision making. And those combination of things are how we arrived at this new version of the NCLEX, or the next gen NCLEX, that's going to arrive in April 1st of 2023. So now this is the part of the video that everyone's been waiting for. Like I said, hopefully I will figure out a way how to make a time jump to this moment. If not, I deeply apologize. But now I'm going to be talking about the next gen NCLEX. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna get it out there. It is confirmed that the next gen NCLEX will be a harder exam than the currently administered NCLEX, and it's going to have a high focus on critically ill patients or caring for critically ill patients. So the first and one of the biggest changes with the next gen NCLEX are the select all that apply questions. There will be more options to choose from on each select all that apply question. So ostensibly it'll be more difficult, but with that being said, partial credit will now be given on select all that apply questions versus now it is not. So if you get some answers correct, you have the opportunity to have partial credit, which is huge. Another change with the next gen NCLEX are drop-down questions. So you will be given a sentence that has blanks in it, and for each blank you will have options to choose from of the correct answer. So it's essentially like fill in the blank, but for each blank you have like a little miniature multiple choice. I said that one of the biggest changes were select all that apply questions. This next one is probably bigger than that, and this is probably definitely the biggest change. Case studies. The next gen NCLEX will have case studies on the exam. So for the case studies on the NCLEX, you will be given a case study on one patient, and then you will have anywhere from 2 to 8 questions on that one case study and on that one patient that you then have to answer. You will also be given a split screen where you will be able to view a simulated patient record on one side of your screen, and then on the other side of the screen you will be given questions on the case study to answer. And the simulated patient record will have different tabs that you can click on for more information, like you're looking at a virtual folder, just like you're looking in a real electronic medical record or EMR software. Another change on the NCLEX are the extended drag and drop questions. So you will be given a question or a series of questions, and you will have a bank of potentially correct answers, and you will have to drag and drop each answer. The only thing with this is, like I said, it's extended drag and drop. So there will be more answers in your little answer bank than there are questions. So when you're done answering the questions, you will have things remaining, meaning that not every answer in the answer bank is a correct answer. There will also be highlighted text questions where you will be given a passage, and then you have to highlight critical areas of that text or that passage that you are given. So I saved the best for last, or the positive things for last, I should say. The first positive thing that the next gen NCLEX will have is that you will not need to do conversions on the next gen NCLEX. Conversions will be given to you. So you now no longer need to be able to memorize or be able to know how many milliliters are in an ounce, or how to convert milliliters to liters or liters to milliliters or whatever. That will all be given to you on the next gen NCLEX. And lastly, laboratory normals will also be given to you, and you no longer need to memorize like the normal lab values of calcium, magnesium, potassium. All of that will be given to you on the next gen NCLEX. So those are all the changes that I have listed for the next gen NCLEX. Finally, I'm going to give my final thoughts on what I think about the next gen NCLEX. So if you're done with this video now, thank you for watching up until this point. I don't blame you for clicking out. Just, you know, if you don't feel like hearing my personal thoughts. But I personally am happy and excited overall with the next gen NCLEX, or at least with what has come out so far about the next gen NCLEX, because I'm sure more information will come out. And then of course, in April of 2023, once the first round of new graduate nurses are taking the exam, I'm sure they will be able to give their testimonials on what they thought of the exam, so my opinion might change. But at this point, with the information that I have, I am very happy. I never took the current NCLEX exam. I'm never going to see the current NCLEX exam, so I have nothing to compare it to. But from what I've heard of the next gen NCLEX, it seems a lot more applicable to the real world, like the real nursing field today. And to be honest, it's also comforting to me. I don't know if comforting is the right word, but I like that this new exam is, my dinner's ready, of course. Sorry about that. I made dinner for me and my husband, and it is ready, so I had to get out of the oven. But back to what I was saying, I'm happy that the next gen NCLEX has a higher focus on critical thinking skills and clinical judgment. And honestly, it makes me more comfortable in my abilities, because if I'm going to be studying for months to pass this NCLEX, that means that I'm going to be practicing for months clinical judgment, critical thinking skills, and things that I feel like will help me better prepare as a new grad nurse. Also, from what we know so far about the next gen NCLEX, that means that EDAPT is not in vain. If you have not seen my video on EDAPT, or you don't know what that is, I have a video that you can check out on my channel. It's horrible. And I hate to say that because EDAPT actually commented on my video. So no offense to EDAPT, and I take back what I said, because now that information has come out on the next gen NCLEX, it sounds like it is very similar, if not identical, to the question formatting of EDAPT. So I'm really happy to know that when I walk into the NCLEX, I'm already, at the very least, going to be comfortable with the style of questions and the formatting of questions because of how the EDAPT is set up. So those are my personal thoughts. Those are all of the new changes that are going to be on the next gen NCLEX. That is an overview of what the NCLEX is. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully my video is not too long. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.